Hey friends, how would you feel if I told you there are some tricks and techniques? With these, you can easily manipulate or influence someone. You can make them take actions you want them to take. You can make them think like you. You can make them fulfill your requests without forcing them. Whether that request is buying your product or service or subscribing to your channel. No matter the request, you can make them do it. You can persuade, manipulate, and make people do what you want. After hearing all this, you might find my talk useless and weird. You might think my talk is rubbish and nonsense. You might think I'm talking about something that's not possible. Well, if someone had said this to me earlier, that yes, we can manipulate someone or influence them to do what we want, I would have felt the same way, that it's useless. But now, after reading and understanding the psychology of influence and persuasion from the book Persuasion by Robert Cialdini, and after witnessing these tricks and techniques in real life, I believe that yes, we can manipulate anyone. From successful salesmen to big companies, everyone uses these tricks and techniques to sell their products. Even politicians use these tricks and techniques to win elections. After observing my own life, I can tell you that there are some tricks, and if you use them properly, you can persuade people at a very high level that you can't even imagine. It's not black magic. It's based on scientific research principles that have been stored in our brains since ancient times. Before sharing such knowledge, I would like to request you all to please don't use this knowledge for wrong or harmful purposes. Yes, it's a fact that this knowledge can be used for bad purposes, but you should understand and remember that wrong or bad ways never provide long-term benefits. Achieving anything through the wrong path will not give you long-term profit. In fact, the wrong path can ruin your life, destroy it, and make it worse. Therefore, use this knowledge for good things, for mutual benefits. Do great work that not only helps you, but also benefits others. So, let's begin. After surviving for thousands of years, the human brain has created many shortcuts for making decisions, allowing us to save energy and make decisions quickly. These shortcuts are nothing but triggers that our brain uses to make decisions. In today's information-rich world, we rely more on these triggers compared to any other era, as we don't have the time or energy to analyze all the available information. This leads us to make decisions based on these triggers rather than on facts and logic. All of this happens at a subconscious level, so we don't even realize it. There are 6 triggers discussed in this book, and I've added 2 extra triggers based on the book's information. We make decisions based on these triggers, and they can help you persuade people. So, let's understand them. Let's begin. Number 1. Scarcity. Most of the time, we've seen that when a book is banned, the number of readers interested in that book increases instead of decreasing. The word banned actually attracts more people to read the book. Why is this? You must have noticed that when you tell a child not to eat something or scold them for it, they often do it even more. They start doing it more than usual. Why do they behave this way? Similarly, parents who give their children less freedom to do things often find that their kids become more rebellious, start lying, and eventually do things they are not allowed to do. Why does this behavior occur? Because in ancient times, survival was very difficult, and essential resources were limited. Our brains naturally developed a strong attraction to things that were scarce or limited. This attraction still exists within us today. We are drawn to things that are limited, hard to get, or have less availability. You will notice that we tend to take action on things that are either limited or that we fear we might lose if we don't act quickly. For example, companies use this principle to their advantage by creating limited edition products. They don't make them limited because they can't produce more. They do it because the idea of something being limited triggers our brains to take action. It makes us feel that something limited is more valuable, and if we don't act quickly, we might miss out. You'll also notice this principle in advertisements that urge you to act fast, stating that an offer is limited to today only. All these examples illustrate the scarcity principle. You can use this principle in various aspects of your life. For instance, many dating gurus advise not to always be available to your crush. Don't say yes to every request they make. In the beginning, you should do this to avoid falling into the friend zone. Another significant example comes from ABC channels' history. ABC, CBS, and NBC, all 3 major channels, wanted to be the first to air a movie. However, only one channel could show it first. They decided to hold an auction to determine who would air the movie first. This turned the movie into a scarce and highly sought-after commodity. All three channels bid high amounts, with ABC buying the rights for $3.3 million, which eventually resulted in a $2 million loss. Auctions are a prime example of the scarcity principle in action, where people spend millions on unusual or strange items because, at that moment, those items become essential and limited. Number 2, liking. The use of the liking principle can be observed in our irrational love for pandas. Billions of dollars are spent to prevent pandas from becoming extinct. I believe this is a kind and noble endeavor, and I wouldn't want to live in a world without pandas. However, there is a sad reality. Many other species are also on the brink of extinction, and it's easier and crucial for us to save them for the sake of our environment, ecosystems, and indirectly for ourselves. Yet, we don't receive the same level of financial support and resources to protect and save these other species. Why? Because these species are not as cute as pandas. The reality is that we are willing to do anything for someone or something we like or love deeply, without thinking logically. Most people find it difficult to say no to their attractive crushes. When someone they like or love makes a request, they are easily influenced. As we know, liking has a significant impact on our behavior, actions, and decisions. Therefore, it's used carefully and effectively in persuasion. The chances of someone saying yes to your request increase when that person already likes you. Now, how can you make someone like you? Fortunately, there are many things you can do. Physical attractiveness. Work on your physical appearance. Try to look as beautiful, handsome, or impressive as you can. Wear proper, neat clothes, always smell good, and groom your hair properly. Good looks are associated with other human traits such as honesty, humor, and trust. Similarity. Search for similarities between you and the other person. We tend to like people who are similar to us, whether it's related to opinions, interests, hobbies, personalities, or backgrounds. Compliments. People love compliments, so give them sincerely. We love those who praise us. Surprisingly, even if people know that a compliment is fake, they still like it. You can imagine how impactful a genuine compliment can be. Contact and cooperation. The frequency with which you meet and interact with people has a great impact on liking. We tend to like people whom we see regularly. Conditioning and association. Try to associate yourself with good things and good people. For example, we find models attractive, so we also like the cars placed behind those models. This is why beautiful girls are featured in almost every advertisement, from pens to cement. Number 3, commitment and consistency. During the Korean War, Chinese soldiers held American soldiers as prisoners. The Chinese soldiers tried hard to extract valuable information from the American soldiers, but were unsuccessful, even after torturing them. Finally, the Chinese soldiers asked the American soldiers to write something negative about America daily. For example, they had to write that America is not a perfect country, communism is good, or America has fewer job opportunities. Gradually, the commitment and consistency principle worked. Over time, many American soldiers started supporting China and became against America. People love to be committed and consistent, and they also admire these qualities in others. If you ask a person to commit to something small or take a small action, the chances of getting them to commit to something big or take significant action increase. For example, in an experiment, some people were asked to wear a cancer awareness button for a week, which was a small, harmless action. People agreed to wear it. Later, the same people were asked to donate to the same cause, and they not only agreed, but also donated more than other groups. This result was achieved because the 1-week commitment and consistency made cancer awareness a part of their identity. This outcome wouldn't have been possible by simply asking for help or a donation. Similarly, you can persuade someone by making them committed and consistent. Number 4, authority. In an experiment, nurses were asked to perform actions that went against hospital rules. Surprisingly, the nurses followed the instructions without questioning, and they weren't afraid to do so. Why? Because the person giving the orders was a doctor. However, this doctor was actually a fake, used to illustrate the authority principle. From childhood, we are taught to listen to those we consider superior to us. We're told to obey our parents, teachers, the government, police, managers, and the list goes on. These figures have the power to command us, telling us what we should and shouldn't do, and we follow because we fear that something bad will happen if we don't obey. However, this way of thinking isn't always correct. 3 things trigger this response. Title. If a regular person tells us to do something, we might not listen. But if a doctor says it, we'll follow. This applies to titles like PhD, president, professor, and so on. Clothing. We give more importance to people who wear uniforms or religious attire, making us more susceptible to manipulation by them. Trappings. These are items that signal a person's authority or status, such as badges, expensive suits, or cars. You'll notice that big companies often feature firefighters, doctors, or police officers in their advertisements to increase the likelihood of selling their products. You can also use titles and authority to persuade people, whether it's your own authority or someone else's. These were only the first 4 triggers discussed in this book that you can use to persuade people. If you want me to share the remaining 4 triggers, please let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, I will proceed to create a video summarizing Persuasion, in which the author provides simple tricks and steps to persuade people easily. Trust me, this is a great book if you want to learn persuasion and excel in your personal life and business. It's one of my top recommended books. Lastly, if you never want to miss any of my videos, please subscribe and click on the bell icon. This way, you'll receive notifications whenever I upload a new video on Sundays. If you forget to select the bell icon, you might miss out on valuable knowledge. Please share this video with your friends and family and support this channel for mutual benefits. Thank you for watching.